Life is a roller coaster, you just have to ride it. If you're a millennial, I guess you're familiar with this song. If not, Google it. It's by Ronan Keating. Life is a roller coaster. I like this song because it gives me an energy and happy boost right away, and it's like candy for my anxious brain. Try it out. Hi, if you're new here, I'm a health and wellness coach and trained and certified by the psychologist Dr. Lyle from Esteem Dynamics, and I help people to eat healthy and live healthy in the modern world. There is one thing that my most successful clients all have in common. None of them restrict starch, and they trust their hunger and fullness cues. The more they trust the process and see starch as their best friend in kicking binge eating or in healthy eating, the more successful they are. What holds people back in eating enough starch is not trusting their hunger and fullness cues. A common question I get almost daily is the following: how do I know that the food I ate was enough? My short answer: when you eat what you think is a reasonable amount of food and are still thinking of food after you finish your meal, then it wasn't enough. As simple as that. A reasonable portion for you as an individual with individual stretch and nutrient receptors in your stomach is when you don't ask yourself if you should have more food. If you feel like no more potatoes, rice, or whatever, please, then you are full. There is a difference between full cramming and binging. Cramming and binging are often confused. I'll talk more about that in my video, The Difference Between Cramming and Binging. I link in the show notes. Cut carbs, cut life. Only carbohydrates can satisfy your hunger drive for good. This is because your body runs on glucose, which you get from whole food like carbs, potatoes, oats, rice, fruits, beans, etc. But of course you should not neglect the other macronutrients for optimal health and satiety, but the majority of your calories should come from carbs. No veggies or lean meat will satisfy your hunger in the same way that unprocessed carbohydrates do. Be patient. To come to this place, it takes a couple of weeks or months. You did the wrong thing, restricting calories maybe for years or decades. Let your body do its job. Your body is a surviving machine and knows exactly how much it needs when given the right food. Your hunger and satiety mechanism are working perfectly and cannot be broken. Eating is like peeing. Or do you manage how much you pee, at what time, etc.? You just pee, right? The same goes for eating when you eat a balanced meal from the right food. You don't compare how much anyone else around you is peeing. I hope so. It's time to trust this process again. At the beginning of my recovery after binge eating, I sometimes accidentally ate too little from time to time or overate. Do you know what happened? The next day I ate automatically more or less. My body was able to balance it out. And yours is too when you give it the chance to do so. It is never too late. And I talk to people in their 70s that got binge-free after 50 years when they finally came across this message. Give your body at least a couple of weeks or months to get used to its hunger and fullness mechanism. Hunger and fullness is perceived very individual, and that's why it doesn't make sense to compare it with others. Everybody has a different level of satiety, but what I know for sure, that you cannot break this mechanism. Okay, let me repeat the essence of this video. How do you know that you had enough food at one meal? My short answer: when you eat what you think is a reasonable amount of food and are still thinking of food after you finish your meal, then it wasn't enough. Go for seconds. Have a nice day, and if you need help with this, book a consultation with me. It's my pleasure to help you find peace around food in this modern world. Bye bye. And don't forget to Google Ronan Keating, Life is a Roller Coaster.